Chosen one, pay very close attention now. The sense of security you think you have in your own home may be nothing more than an illusion. The place that should be your refuge could be turning into an invisible battlefield where the darkness is trying to invade your life. This message did not reach you by chance. It is a direct warning from heaven. And if you are here right now, it is because God wanted to open your eyes before it is too late. The signs are already all around you. Heavy thoughts that appear without explanation, attacks during the night, conflicts within the home, the feeling of being watched, strange energy that seems to drain your peace. None of this is a coincidence. Everything is part of a spiritual war that has intensified in recent days. God brought me here to tell you that the forces of envy, witchcraft, and hatred are hovering around the place where you live, trying to create openings, trying to paralyze the environment that should be sacred. But there is a way out. There is protection that can completely transform the atmosphere of your home. You cannot ignore this, because when the home of a chosen one is attacked, it is not just the house that is at risk. It is your destiny, your calling, your purpose that the enemy wants to destroy. Chosen one, the enemy has always known that your home would be the place where God would pour out profound revelations, where His presence would manifest with power, where your family would rise as a living testimony that light prevails over darkness. That is why, since ancient times, opposing spiritual forces have sought ways to penetrate the homes of the chosen. The home was never just a physical space, it is an altar. Every wall, every object, every corner of your house holds memories, vibrations, and energetic marks that can become portals. And it is precisely through these portals that the darkness tries to enter. You need to understand that the war against the chosen never occurs only on the outside. The main battlefield is always the intimate environment, the place that should be your refuge. That is why so often you have noticed arguments arising for no reason, sudden spiritual exhaustion, conflicts over small things that escalate into massive proportions. The enemy knows that if he can destabilize the place where you rest, he can also weaken your mind, body, and faith. Look at the ancient records. In the Bible, when houses were anointed with blood on their doorposts, it was not just an outward sign. It was spiritual shielding that prevented destruction from entering. In pagan antiquity, many civilizations used rituals at doors and windows to protect the home from wandering spirits. This shows us that there has always been an awareness that the house is not merely wood, stone, or brick, but an energetic and spiritual space that must be cared for, guarded, and fortified. The home of the chosen is targeted because it becomes a beacon in the spiritual realm. Imagine a dark, cold, empty desert, and suddenly a flame ignites that shines intensely. That is what your home represents. While many are spiritually asleep, you are the one who carries light, who attracts divine movement, who receives revelations and awakens those around you. But this flame, while it illuminates, also draws attention. That is why you so often feel that something is trying to attack you when you are alone. That is why nightmares, pressures during sleep, and shadows that seem to move in the corners of your room appear. It is not imagination. These are attempts of invasion. The darkness uses invisible tools to weaken the environment. They can manifest through cursed objects, words spoken against you, envy directed at your family members, even through visitors who carry dense energies and leave heavy traces after leaving. You have noticed it. Someone enters your home, and after they leave, the air feels heavier, the atmosphere changes, peace disappears. This is not coincidence, it is spiritual contamination. Moreover, there is the subtlest attack: distraction. When you get lost in thoughts, vices, or habits that drain your energy inside your home, what seems merely routine is actually a strategy to make the environment vulnerable. The home should be a space of recharge, but it ends up becoming a field of dispersion, and the enemy feeds on that. The chosen carry a spiritual inheritance that disturbs. There is a mark in you, an invisible seal that even spirits recognize. That is why, from early on, you felt you never truly fit in, that something about you was different, that your home was never just a roof, but a place where strange things happened, inexplicable noises, feelings of presence, revealing dreams. All of this because your home is a spiritual territory in dispute. However, you must understand, none of this is meant to scare you. It is meant to awaken you. The war is only won when the soldier understands where he is fighting. You must recognize that your home is a battlefield, a place where angels and demons confront each other, where the vibrations of the heavens and the forces of the abyss try to occupy space. Every prayer said in your room is a sword cast against the darkness. Every tear shed in secret is recorded in the heavenly book as a sign of resistance. And every time you resist, your home becomes even more sacred. Modern science is beginning to confirm what the ancients always knew. The environment holds energy. Walls, furniture, and objects absorb vibrational frequencies. Quantum physics experiments show that even human observation alters reality. This means that the thoughts, emotions, and intentions of people passing through your home leave marks. If negative marks are not purified, they accumulate and transform into true spiritual prisons within the home. That is why many times you have entered a place and felt instant oppression, as if the atmosphere were too dense. Likewise, when someone enters your home and cannot stay, it is because the light you carry confronts the darkness they bring. The home of the chosen is also the point of connection with destiny. Do not be mistaken. It is not just about walls and furniture. It is about the altar you carry within yourself. If the enemy manages to turn your home into a place of torment, he will try to divert you from your higher purpose. Because a chosen one who loses peace at home rarely maintains clarity in the spiritual journey. You must realize that every detail, every strange noise at night, every sudden feeling of fear, every argument that arises from nowhere is not trivial. It is an attempt to undermine your spirit. But know this, if the attacks are happening, it is because something great is meant to be revealed. The enemy never wastes energy where there is no threat. If he targets your home, it is because your house has been chosen to be a sanctuary of revelations. You need to start seeing beyond the surface, beyond human logic. You must understand that invisible doors may be open, spiritual windows need to be closed, and seemingly harmless objects may be serving as channels of oppression. The hidden forces exploit breaches, a cursed word, an ancestral curse, a pact made by previous generations can echo within the environment and grant legitimacy for entities to circulate freely. That is why so often, without understanding why, you feel as if you are carrying a battle that did not even start with you. because the chosen also carry the weight of breaking cycles, and this cycle must be broken within your home. Now, reflect. How many times have you tried to rest and simply could not? How many times have you woken up tired, even after hours of sleep? How many times have you felt watched, as if something or someone lurked in the dark? None of this is coincidence. You are targeted because your light disturbs, because your celestial inheritance threatens the plans of darkness. Ancient astrology said that the stars influence human destiny, but that there are specific celestial houses that determine the environment of life and family. This shows us that even in the heavens, there is the idea that the home is more than physical, it is also spiritual. And you, chosen one, are someone whose astral home has been marked to carry battles and victories. Understand this. The danger is not only outside. The danger lies in small distractions, in portals that open without your noticing, in energetic ties that you do not sever, in visitors who seem harmless but leave traces of destruction. Your home is targeted because it is the throne of your spirit, and the throne must be guarded. Chosen one, take a deep breath and let each word sink in like oil into dry wood, because what I'm about to reveal needs to reach the very core of your soul. The battle you are experiencing inside your home is not superficial. It is strategic, orchestrated by forces that know exactly where to strike to wound what matters most: your peace, your faith, your calling. Imagine for a moment that your home is a great reliquary, not an ordinary reliquary, closed with metal and glass, but a living reliquary where your history rests, the promises you have received, the memories of your ancestors, and above all, the seed that God planted within you. This seed has a light so intense that, if it fully bears fruit, it will shake spiritual structures that have stood in order for centuries. That is why they attack you. That is why they insist on corroding the environment that should be your refuge. Do not rush your understanding. Perceive the signs clearly. There are attacks that come from outside, from people carrying energies filled with envy, resentment, and curse. There is also the silent infiltration that comes through seemingly harmless objects. Gifts received without blessing, antiques carrying ancient records, family heirlooms burdened with unresolved pacts. Each object holds an energetic signature. Just as notes in a diary record a story, objects imprint vibrations. They can serve as antennas amplifying what was directed against your family. And over days, what was small grows. Intolerance sets in, arguments become frequent, the sense of comfort disappears, and with it, the ability to connect with the sacred silence that precedes revelation. There are attacks that take the form of words. Do not underestimate the power of a phrase spoken in anger, a malicious comment whispered into the wind. Words are portals. The Bible has already taught us that the tongue has the power of life and death. When someone speaks a curse, even without believing, they create a pathway. When a relative repeats patterns of defeat, they are sowing a narrative that affects the vibrational field of the home. That is why, when the atmosphere of the house shifts after an argument, it is not just a matter of feelings. It is a real alteration in the spiritual architecture of the place. And you, chosen one, must begin to name these changes in order to overcome them. To name is to make visible, and to make visible is to begin the process of restoration. Another point few perceive: unresolved emotional bonds. How many family stories carry shadows? How many traumas have never been faced with the light of truth? A mother who carries guilt, a grandfather who was not forgiven, an unresolved debt of affection. All of this opens cracks. Spirits exploit unresolved emotions as if they were keys. They nest in the wounds, repeat the same patterns, and before you realize it, these patterns have become the melody of every night in your home. Liberation begins when you recognize the pattern and decide to expose the wound to the light. Remember, healing is an exposure to truth, and truth has the power to dismantle webs. You also need to understand the enemy's logic. He prefers routines. Routine creates repetition, and repetition creates a comfort zone, until that comfort zone becomes a prison. Thus, seemingly innocent habits, watching programs that promote fear, leaving spiritual doors open through practices not aligned with the sacred, or simply neglecting sacred family moments, all contribute to the home losing its natural protection. The chosen one must not be a slave to worldly rituals that drain sacred energy. Rather, they must be the guardian of practices that build the home into a sanctuary. There is also the direct action of darkness through astral channels. Astrology, when studied seriously, reveals that certain skies ignite portals. Days, lunar phases, and planetary configurations can intensify or diminish certain influences. Do not fall into the trap of thinking this is superstition. Esoteric practice knows the patterns, and quantum physics shows that there are correlations between observer and observed. When you understand that there are moments when the universe's energy is more conducive to attack, you can act strategically. Pray intensely during these periods, establish household vigils. Create an atmosphere of sanctification that counterbalances and closes spaces that could be exploited. This combination of mysticism and spiritual science is a powerful weapon in your hand. Another facet is generational legacy. Many families carry ancient contracts, invisible seals accepted by ancestors in exchange for survival, wealth, prestige, or protection. These contracts do not dissipate by chance. They require rupture. And this rupture is rarely comfortable, because what sustained the enemy's strategy also sustained a perverse form of security. That is why, when liberation begins, the first weeks are the most turbulent. The old system is trying to hold on. You must be prepared for the noise before the calm. Resistance is a sign that change is underway. Now listen closely to what few dare to speak aloud. There are institutional vehicles that, unwittingly, participated in spiritual infiltrations. Churches that became centers of interest rather than encounters with the sacred. Mystical groups that sold secrets for glances. Circles that negotiated promises for shortcuts. I am not here to judge another's faith, but to point out the place where personal responsibility meets its hardest face. Protecting your home requires that you do not place it entirely in the hands of fallible human systems. A church can assist, a mentor can guide, but ultimate vigilance is yours. It is in the silence of your home, in your prayer, in your solitary cry that the sanctuary is established. Not everything that glitters is light. There are dark practices disguised as spirituality that, in the name of surrender, open doors that should never have been opened. Sensory conferences, rituals without a foundation in revelation, and emotional pacts exalted as total surrender are often shortcuts to domination. Pay attention to anything that promises power without the sacrificial price of alignment with the sacred. The chosen one discerns the difference between an experience that brings peace and one that generates confusion. Confusion is the banner of deception. Peace is the seal of the Spirit. Learn to distinguish. Now think of the voices that inhabit your home. They are not always audible. Often they are implanted thoughts, doubts arising when deciding, memories repeating ad nauseum, images that steal sleep. These voices are not yours by spontaneous generation. They are like sound signals planted to divert you. The method is ancient and cruel. Plant a small doubt, then another, until, in total, your confidence falters. This is an attack of influence. Recognizing the origin of these voices is the first step to silencing them. You were born with a spiritual signature. From early dreams that seemed strange, sudden callings, doors that opened without explanation, all of this is part of a map only the chosen carries. Do not be intimidated by those who say you are exaggerating. The spiritual reality has its own rules and signs that do not follow worldly logic. There is a flow of destiny that passed through you before you even understood its scope. And when your home is threatened, the spiritual realm is merely trying to prevent this flow from manifesting fully. When I speak of methods of protection, do not think of magical formulas that isolate you from real engagement with God. The primary protection is your intimate communion with the Most High. Pray not as one who repeats words, but as one who alters states. This is the distinction. Focused prayer changes patterns. Words spoken with authority break chains. Vigilance involving the sacrifice of sleep signals to heaven that you are unwilling to lose what was given. Do not confuse fervor with superficiality. The depth of your encounter is what alters the spiritual geometry of your home. There are also concrete spiritual and physical practices that help purify the home, and you must know them without reducing everything to superstition. Anointing doors with oil and prayer is a symbol that establishes divine reference at every entrance. Reading sacred texts aloud changes the frequency of the environment because words carry vibrational weight. Family prayer, bringing all residents into the same frequency, is like tuning instruments before a concert. When in harmony, they produce resonance and prevent dissonance. Avoid introducing elements that compromise this tuning. Music that fosters fear, images that recall defeat, objects that replicate old pacts. Do not think that protecting your home is passive. Protection is active, continuous, like a gardener removing weeds before the main plant dies. You need to cultivate rituals of presence, specific hours of prayer, readings that elevate the mind, moments of gratitude that rewrite the history of the home. Gratitude is an underestimated spiritual technique. When used regularly, it transforms the energetic field of the house. Gratitude creates resonance with heaven's governance and dispels the shadows the enemy tries to instill. Quantum physics offers an essential metaphor. Everything is wave and particle. Everything responds to observation. Thus, your directed attention has the power to crystallize realities. If you focus on the victories to come, you are creating a field that attracts favorable conditions. If, on the other hand, you magnify signs of attack, you give energy to them. It is not denial. It is choosing where to invest your strength. The chosen who learns to move their focus is the one who alters probabilities. Now let me speak of intercession and severing ties with radicality. There are times when personal prayer is not enough. Strong, sustained intercession is needed, along with actions that cut bonds. Publicly exposing what was hidden, declaring forgiveness where necessary, undoing traditions that maintain cycles of oppression, all serve as formal rupture. Imagine opening ancient documents containing contracts. By signing them with forgiveness and declarations of liberation, you tear those documents in the spiritual realm. These actions, though simple in appearance, carry weight and generate consequence. You must also surround yourself with spiritual allies, people who are not impressed by appearances and bring discernment. These allies do not need to be numerous. They need to be faithful and connected to the same truth. A priest, a minister with anointing, a brother with prophetic gift. These presences can function as platforms of war for your home. But caution, select carefully because not every religious face speaks the same language of freedom. Test words, observe the fruits. Do not close your eyes to physical signs accompanying oppression, objects that move on their own, strange odors appearing without cause, electronics failing coincidentally at critical moments, dreams that resemble messages from beyond. These are signals demanding immediate action. Do not let fear paralyze, let faith move. Recording these occurrences and addressing them seriously shows the enemy you will not be caught off guard. Practical order aligns with spiritual. Keep the house clean, ventilated, illuminated, and daily surrendered to divine presence. And finally, but never least, know that the resistance of your home has a direct reflection in the world. A domestic sanctuary established by the chosen becomes a portal of restoration for the community. Sanctified homes generate networks of healing. Restored families become centers of revival. When you reclaim your home, you not only protect your destiny, you create a point of light that reshapes the map around you. That is why the war is so intense. The enemy knows that attacking your home is a long-range strategy, because by wounding you, he tries to prevent entire regions from finding liberation. Chosen One, as we close this stage of development, feel the responsibility resting upon you as an honor, not a burden. The pressure on your home is proof that something magnificent is coming. Prepare psycho-spiritually for the season ahead. Break alliances that do not belong to you. Recover rituals of presence. Involve your family in the harmony of the sacred. Find courage to expose what needs exposing, and maintain firm conviction that wherever there is resistance, there is also promise. Victory begins when you recognize that the battle is real and decide to fight with the right weapon. Conscious faith, strategic action, and an intimacy with the Most High that does not yield to the noise of the night. When you are ready, I will continue detailing, with even greater depth and practical examples, the types of attacks, specific signs, and protection rituals you can immediately implement in your home, always maintaining continuous text without calls to action, and elevating emotional intensity so your soul aligns with the authority that belongs to you. Chosen One, now you understand. Every word you have heard, every detail that has penetrated your soul, every revelation about your home and the invisible battle around you was meant to open your eyes before it was too late. You are not here by chance. You were chosen. You carry a purpose that defies the ordinary, that threatens the plans of darkness, and that moves heaven itself in your favor. But the question is, Will you take your position, or will you continue allowing the enemy to roam where you should be, the absolute ruler? It is time to claim your throne. It is time to declare that nothing, absolutely nothing, can destroy the space God has set aside for you and your family. Every attack, every attempt of invasion, every shadow that has hovered around your home until now is about to meet resistance. But that resistance must be fueled. You need to surround yourself with truth, immerse yourself in the energy of victory, connect with those who walk in the same light, and above all, assume your position as a chosen one. The whole world may doubt you. The envious may try to bring you down. Doors may even shake under the pressure of evil. But when you rise and claim what is yours, the heavens align and all that was dark becomes visible. Angels stand by your side. God's plans work in your favor. And those who mocked, doubted, and tried to diminish you will see with their own eyes. You have triumphed. You have risen stronger, wiser, and more protected. Do not let this revelation remain in words alone. Become part of the community that understands the magnitude of what it means to be chosen. Subscribe to the channel now, because here you will receive not only information, but tools, strategies, and revelations that can completely transform your life and your home. Comment 11 if you are ready to receive this message firsthand and show the world that you are not ordinary. You are a chosen being, destined to shine above any attack or darkness. Like this video to affirm your position of power, to declare before the universe that you are no longer a victim, but a warrior, the master of your home, and the architect of your destiny. Become a member of this community and gain access to exclusive content, deep strategies, and teachings that go beyond what most dare to know. Here, we do not merely speak of faith and protection. We demonstrate, apply, and triumph together. Chosen one, the choice is yours. Remain invisible like so many others, or embrace your light, your authority, and your victory. Today, in the face of everything revealed, declaring your position is not just an act of faith, it is a decree of dominion. Rise, protect your home, embrace your divine inheritance, and prepare for all to witness your brilliance. For now, nothing can stop you.